Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my Stagey YouTube channel. If you're meeting me for the first time, hello! My name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. I'm an independent theatre critic based here in the UK and a Stagey YouTuber. And this is my channel where I post the reviews of the shows that I have been invited to go and see. And last week I got to go and see Standing at the Sky's Edge at the National Theatre. This is a show I've been anticipating for so long. I've heard nothing but rapturous word of mouth since its first run at the Sheffield Crucible. It has finally made its way down to London. I'm so excited that I got to see it, and I'm going to tell you all about it in today's video. Does it live up to the glorious hype? Is everything you're hearing about it true? And what exactly is it? All of those questions will be answered today. Also, if you do enjoy today's video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you see all of the other reviews I'll be posting very soon, and you can go and check out some of the other videos I've posted recently as well. There are two links in the description. The first one is to join and become one of my channel members. For £2.99 you get access to a lot of exclusive content, as well as my first impressions series. They already know what I thought of this show because I uploaded that right after I got out. And the other link is for a website called showscore.com. If you click on that, you can sign up for a free account. You can rate the shows that you have seen in London or New York out of 5, and you can say a little bit about them, and you can also follow all of the written reviews that I do that are also posted on that site. Once you finish this video, if you have seen Standing at the Sky's Edge at the National Theatre, or if you got to see it in Sheffield, comment below with your thoughts on the show. I would be fascinated to hear them. Now, let's talk about Standing at the Sky's Edge. So if you know nothing about this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it now. So this is a new musical, but it's not an original score. It features the back catalogue of musician Richard Hawley, and it features a book by Chris Bush, who is a hugely exciting rising playwright here in the UK. I saw Chris's show Hungry at the Edinburgh Fringe and I loved it. Chris also wrote the book For Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World. I was about to say Fantastically Great Women and Where to Find Them. That's not the book, that is a different book. The show first premiered at the Sheffield Crucible in March 2019, and it tells the story of a very real building, the notorious Park Hill Estate, and it follows the lives of 3 different families who lived in the same flat over a 60-year period. So in 2 acts of this musical, we follow 3 different stories, but we come to find out that they are perhaps more interconnected than they first appear. We meet a young couple who optimistically move into the flat in the 60s. We meet an immigrant family who are moving in, I believe, in the late 80s or early 90s. And then we meet a young woman who has left London and has acquired the flat in what is now a regenerated and redeveloped building in the 2010s. As well as following their lives, we also experience various political and historical turning points that will also affect their lives. And we jump in and out of each story. It's not like the whole thing is told chronologically. We see bits and pieces in a way that is pertinent. It's a very well put together script. So as for the music, these are songs written by Richard Hawley, and the characters will sing them and emote and perform them, but the lyrics are not super specific to those characters' circumstances. It's a bit like the show The Girl from the North Country, or like many jukebox musicals really, where a character will be singing something and the songs will begin to articulate their feelings, but not nearly as specifically as the script can, because the script has been written for them and the songs are using pre-written lyrics. But it's a really rich piece, and it talks about hope and aspiration and class disparity and love and futility, and it really speaks to the human condition by giving you these snapshots of different people who are all in completely different circumstances and from completely different backgrounds, but experience common emotions. So that, I'm hoping, gives you a little bit of an insight into what this show is about. Let me tell you now what I thought of it. So like I said before, I had been really anticipating this one and I wanted it to be fantastic. And it is really, really great and profoundly touching and a fantastically written script. At the heart of this is an incredible play by Chris Bush, and I expect nothing less. I was so excited to hear that Chris was going to be working on this creative team, because I think this is what musical theatre in the UK needs, is excellent playwrights writing musical theatre books. To this end, it annoys the heck out of me that the Olivier Awards do not have a category to acknowledge Best Book of a Musical. The Tony Awards do, and for some reason the Oliviers don't. It's just not something that we uphold and uplift and consider worthy of recognition. For shame. For shame. Confuses me greatly. But Chris Bush would be running away with that award if it existed, because it is such a brilliant play. At the heart of this, the characters are so well crafted and so three-dimensional, and the way that it all interconnects is brilliant, and it gives you that thing in the interval when you can talk with the person that you're with, or with yourself if you're by yourself, and you can try and work out what's going on and what's going to happen, because there's this sense of foreboding at times and other things are getting foreshadowed. But for as moving and stirring as the show is, I'm still giving it a 4-star review. And that is mostly because of the relationship that this show has to its music. So like I said before, this is technically a jukebox musical using the music of Richard Hawley, and the songs are really stirring and profound and lovely and emotive, but they are not lyrically specific, and I do think that that undercuts the ability of the show to really further and develop these characters. There are some moments where it's great, and the script does so much heavy lifting in terms of character development and letting them voice their issues and their aspirations and all of this stuff, but it can become frustrating when the script is so articulate and then they sing a song that inevitably isn't. Not for anyone's fault, but just because the lyrics weren't written for that character. Like I said, there are other musicals that experience a similar thing. It's kind of like when you have an argument with someone and then you go to your car and you turn the radio up and you sing along to an angsty song that's kind of about what you're feeling right now, but not specifically. That's what these songs are. They are like vibes that capitulate on emotional moments in the show. And I enjoy a lot of them, and they're really winning melodies, and they're haunting. The one I played you on that little music box at the beginning is such a lovely melody. But I do think that this whole enterprise and this whole collaboration to make this show is just that one step short of being perfect, and that step, unfortunately, is using musical theatre composers to write an original score. And I feel like in musical theatre at the moment, we either have great composers with second-rate books or fantastic book writers who are not working with musical theatre composers. Generally, there are so many young and talented musical theatre composers who could write a brilliant score for these characters. Again, I like this music. There are moments in the show I think it really, really works, but there is something more powerful that could be done with bespoke songs. Let me tell you about some of my favourite moments in the show, because I am just itching to. So one of them is when Maimouna Menon first appears and sings the song Open Up Your Door, which is the one I played you on this at the beginning. It's a beautiful song, and she is an incredibly talented vocalist. The way that she delivers a song, what comes to mind is artistry when I talk about her. The tone of her voice is just gorgeous and so specific, and the way that she can act through a song and emote, even when you have these non-specific lyrics, it's wonderful. You know that she is saying something pressingly important, even though she arrives and sings this song before you necessarily realise who she is. Another fantastic moment comes at the end of the show when Rachel Wooding sings the song After the Rain. It's so emotionally impactful. The end of Act 1, the staging of that, absolutely incredible and riotous and destructive, and my jaw actually dropped in the moments before the interval happened. But above all of these exceptional parts of the show, my absolute favourite number and my favourite moment was a song called Cole's Corner. You have this recurring lyric that keeps coming back. It is sung beautifully, more on the performers in a minute, but the staging of this number was absolutely gorgeous, with everyone breaking into choreography around her across the massive Olivier stage at the National Theatre. It was such a striking visual, and it was just lovely, with this twinge of sadness to it, and all about humanity and connection and love. But there was also this layer of desperation and despair to it as well. Just wonderful. I should say at this point, the show was directed by Robert Hasty with choreography by Lynn Page. So let's talk about this cast. You have this central trio of leading ladies made up of Alex Young, Rachel Wooding and Faith Amole, all of whom give the most heartfelt and human performances. I want to talk about each of them in some more detail. So Rachel Wooding, because of the trajectory of the script, perhaps gets the most focus by the end of the show, and I feel like hers is the performance you're really going to leave the theatre talking about. She's done a great many things on stage, but this really ought to catapult her to just another class of role. She is giving you a Sarah Lancashire moment in this role. She is so maternal and warm and sweet, but then she will break your entire heart as well. It's a wonderful, strong, and deeply human performance. So Alex Young as well, who is just sublime in this. She's given so many wonderful performances that I've seen. This is maybe my favourite. She doesn't get to sing quite as much as I usually get to hear her singing in shows in this one, but the acting and the comedy and the quirky goofiness that she has. There's this brilliant scene where she's confronted by an ex at a New Year's Eve party she has with new friends, and it's incredibly tense, and the way that she plays that off comedically is so Alex Young, and it's brilliant. Because she's playing someone who is neurotic and who has maybe had a little bit of a breakdown and is navigating a great many things and coming to terms with how she can be in a relationship and still maintain parts of herself that she's recently reconnected to. And we so often see those kind of things depicted in a caricature, and it's not, it's just so real and so authentic. Finally, Faith Amole. So Faith is responsible for singing my favourite part of the show, the one I had told you about before. It's such a stirring vocal, and she is wonderful. I think her character changes the most over the course of the show. I was talking with my boyfriend Aaron about it after we left the theatre, and he made the excellent point that her accent also changes because she arrives as a Liberian immigrant in Sheffield at a young enough age that she then acclimatizes to the local area, and her accent shifts as a result of that. And we see that changing steadily over the course of the play because we're sort of moving gradually through the years. And we see her apprehensive and fearful and resentful as a young child, and then affectionate and hopeful and sort of blossoming out of herself, and then wearied by the world and what it's taken from her. It's another beautiful performance. All three of them absolutely spectacular. Robert Lonsdale also gives a tremendous performance in this. He has quite a challenging arc to play, and he does so very well. His is another voice that will really draw so much out of a lyric, even when that lyric is not particularly specific. The way he sings it infuses it with such meaning that you understand. I could honestly list off the entirety of the supporting cast. Everyone gives such a strong contributory performance. But the last person I want to mention is Maimouna Menon. I told you about her voice before. She is an incredible musician, a brilliant vocalist, but I so enjoyed getting to see her play such a chaotic and destructive and selfish character. In this, that showed another really different side than all of the performances I've seen her give before. And while those central three leading ladies do their best to navigate the circumstances of the show, it's the characters like Robert Lonsdale and like Maimouna that arrive and challenge them and bring this tension and this unsettled undercurrent that makes the whole thing so compelling. Let's talk now finally about some more of the creative team. The set design for this is really, really stunning, and the lighting, oh my gosh, the lighting, the timing of the lighting, and some of the specific features that they have, and the way the lighting underneath some of the set pieces. Incredible work. Let me tell you who did all of this. So Ben Stones designed the set and the costumes. I really enjoyed the costumes. You're looking to the costumes to try and work out what decade you're in, and they're very indicative of that time, and they give a lot away because the set doesn't change. The set is static, and different characters walk in and out of the same flat, basically. So you look to the costuming to work out when we are. Mark Henderson was the lighting designer for this production. I mean, it's just tremendous work, and the emotion of each moment was conveyed by that lighting. You could just look at the show, hear none of it, and understand implicitly where we are because the lighting design was so indicative and was so strong and passionate and sorrowful and tense and unnerving. It was absolutely fantastic. I got really into talking about that lighting design. I love good lighting design, let me tell you. And there's a huge difference between shows that are lit capably and effectively and shows that are lit meaningfully and artistically and powerfully. So who do I think should go and see Standing at the Sky's Edge? If you love a really rich and meaningful and layered play, and you're not super into musicals, this is musical light, because they are singing pre-written songs at emotive moments throughout the play. It's kind of like where you'd see a film and there will be songs in the film soundtrack, only the characters sing them, but they don't really sing them at each other, they just take a break from the action to sing them, occasionally literally at a microphone, facing forwards. This speaks so much about the local culture and history of Sheffield. If you are a Sheffield native and you didn't catch this while it's at the Crucible and you have the chance to while it's at the National, I would hugely encourage you to do so because I think you will connect with it even more on a personal level than I did. I'm from the South, I know nothing about any of this, and it still got me. Who else would enjoy this show? I mean, it's so much like all of those really great and gripping BBC dramas that are just about people and society and how the working class has been affected by decades of neglect from the Tory government. If that at all sounds like it interests you, get yourself to the National Theatre to go see Standing at the Sky's Edge. Let's talk a little bit about the theatre-going experience. So if you haven't been to the National Theatre before, this is a building on the South Bank. There are actually 3 different theatrical spaces inside, as well as a cafe and a little restaurant area, a big foyer for working in or for relaxing in before the show or during the interval. As I've been reviewing this, I've been referring to 2 things. So this is the programme that you can buy from the National Theatre Bookshop, which you have to go to as well because it's just an amazing place. That's also where I bought this. They have a range of scripts and gifts and merchandise available and a whole section dedicated just to this show, so go and look for the Standing at the Sky's Edge section, as well as the programme, which I will say is super thick and has so much information in it. There is also this, which is a free cast list that you can grab on your way into the auditorium, kind of like a playbill would be for Broadway, only slightly less aesthetic. But yellow for the benefit of anyone with dyslexia, so conscientious. The Olivier Auditorium, where this show is playing, is the largest space in the National Theatre. It's one of my favourite theatres of all time, and really anywhere you go, you are going to have a tremendous view of the stage. It's a very open auditorium that doesn't really have negative sight lines wherever you are, and these are big performances that will reach you wherever you choose to be in the auditorium. But those are my thoughts on Standing at the Sky's Edge at the National Theatre. I hope I have shared a little bit with you today about why this is such a special show. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my Stagey YouTube channel for plenty more review videos and a lot of other content coming very soon. Go check out some of my other reviews as well if you're wondering about some of the other shows currently playing in London. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey, thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!